Hello class, this is math lesson 82, finding the volume of a rectangular prism. So this is a 3D figure that we're talking about. The volume of a shape is the amount of space that the shape occupies. Or if you picture it as something you could fill up, like how much would fit inside of it. So the volume of a shape, the amount of space that it occupies. We measure volume by using units that take up space called cubic units. Okay, so there's some terminology for you. The number of cubic units of space that the shape occupies is the volume measurement of that shape. We select units of appropriate size to describe a volume. For small volumes, we can use cubic centimeters or cubic inches. For larger volumes, we can use cubic feet and cubic meters. And all that is saying is that you're using appropriate amounts of measurement. Like if I'm going to measure the length of a book, I could use centimeters or inches. If I'm going to measure the length of a classroom, I would probably want to use feet or meters or a yard rather than a small measurement. So you're choosing it based on the size of the overall measurement that you're doing. So when we're talking about volume, we're talking about a 3D shape such as these. And we just are going to have a formula like we have with everything else. To calculate the formula of a rectangular prism, we can begin by finding the area of the base of the prism. Then we imagine building layers of cubes on the base up to the height of the prism. So it's kind of like we imagine if we would break this into layers and we would find the amount of area in one of those and then we just keep adding them on. Hopefully that makes sense. Some examples will help us picture this, I think, a little bit better. How many 1-inch cubes are needed to form this rectangular prism? A 1-inch cube is a cube whose edges are 1 inch long. So imagine that we have, oh brother, that shouldn't be. So we're going to take this little cube here and we're going to imagine how many of those 1 inch, oh, I hate writing on this thing, by 1 inch, every one of the edges, imagine, is 1 inch. Boy, does that look interesting. Imagine, so we have 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch on this cube. How many of those can we fit inside of this thing? Well, if one of the sides is 5 inches, you kind of see where the little tick marks are at here. So you could fit 5 of the width of those little blocks in there, 3 on this side, 4 on this side. The area of the base is 5 inches by 3 inches. We've kind of done that with area when we found area of a rectangle, not a rectangular prism. So that would equal 15 square inches. So you can see we have one, whoops, can't I do that? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes here. Then I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 of those little boxes. Well, look at this. That is 5 times 3. That's what we've done to find area before, right? Now we're just adding in that 3D element for us. So we have 15 for this whole shape right here is 15 cubes. So when we go back up to this image, there's 15 cubes here, there's 15 cubes here, there's 15 cubes here, and 15 cubes here, which basically we're talking about 15 times 4. So we have taken 5 times 3 times 4. That is the formula for finding area of a base. Oops, sorry. Area of a 3D shape, a rectangle, would be length times width times height. I'm getting ahead of what they're telling us. But, oh, if we were in class, it'd be so much easier. Notice that in the example above, on the previous page, we multiplied the length by the width to find the area of the base, then we multiplied the area of the base by the height to find the volume. That's what I just explained. I'm just faster than what my pages are. So to find the area, here we go. Sorry about that. The area, excuse me, not the area, we're now talking volume. The volume of the rectangular prism, the formula for that is length times width times height. Let's look at an example. What is the volume of a cube whose edges are 10 centimeters long? Okay, wait a minute. They're only giving us one number here, but this is a cube. So we know that this length is going to be the same. This length is going to be the same. So each one of those is 10 centimeters. So our formula for volume is length times width times height. So it's going to be 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters, which is going to be 1,000. Okay, now for the label on this, you guys, I said here we were talking, oh, why does that do that? 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters, right, times 10 centimeters. So the label is going to be centimeters cubed. So our answer for this is 1,000 centimeters cubed. Let's do a little review here. If we had, let's make these centimeters. Remember when we found the area of this rectangle? We would say 5 times 2. And remember how I said the area of a rectangle is the area squared. Now this should be making more sense to you because this was 5 centimeters times 2 centimeters. Centimeter times centimeter is centimeters squared. Okay, does that make sense? Boy, I wish you were with me because I think we could really talk this through and I'd be able to tell if you were catching on. Example 3, find the volume of a rectangular prism that is 4 feet long, 3 feet wide, 2 feet high. Well, all we're doing is we're using our formula and we're going to plug in the numbers. So we have 4 feet times 3 feet times 2 feet. 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, and then we cube the answer. The cube means cubic feet. So you would read 24 feet with a 3 like that as 24 cubic feet. Here's an example. This cube is constructed of 1-inch cubes. What is the volume of the larger cube? Well, we're going to take 2 inches times 2 inches times 2 inches. What is the answer? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we have inches cubed. And we would read that 8 cubic inches. It's really just plugging in for the volume, plugging in length times width times height, plugging those answers in. Okay, so do the assignment, go on Edmodo. Please, if you are confused with this or if you have questions when you get to the assignment, get a hold of me and I will hopefully be able to help you out. I don't want to just leave you hanging. So good luck with that, and I will talk to you soon.